Well, we are here in the beef capital, but this woman is in charge of our second favourite industry here in Queensland, resources, also the Northern Australian Minister. I spoke with Madeleine King a little earlier.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks, Andrea.
Also the Minister for Northern Australia. I hear you've got one big mission while you're here at Beef. You've got to go find a big new hat.
You betcha. I'm moving into the straw hat zone because I think it's very hot in WA, and when I go into the Pilbara and the up to Kununurra and so forth. So I'm going to keep my felt. I really love it, but I'm going to have a look for a straw hat.
How big are we thinking?
I think as big as possible. Like, you know, you want to protect
Bobcatter
yourself.
style, but straw.
I'm a big fan of Bob Catter. I work with him quite a lot in the Parliament, so I'm happy to model my hat choices on Bob's.
Good on you. He'll be happy to
Yeah,
hear
I
that
hope
one.
so, yeah.
Now, carbon capture and storage, let's start on that one. In your view, is it a critical component of emissions reduction?
I think it is, and it's not just me that thinks it is. The International Energy Agency has said carbon capture and storage will be essential for the world to get to net zero because of the challenge ahead. Like, there is a lot of carbon, there is a lot of carbon-intensive industries right around the world, and so that is an important technology that will be needed to be able to sequester carbon into the future.
That isn't shared by all of your cabinet, though, is it?
I would think it's shared by all the cabinet, but there are different views around the country for sure, and I don't object to those different views, but I tend to follow I absolutely follow the science, and I don't mind that advice of the International Energy Agency, which points to CCS quite clearly. There's one facility in Western Australia, it's an offshore facility that has already sequestered 9 million tonnes of carbon dioxide. So that's a whole lot of emissions that is put back into a reservoir that was able to hold gas before and is now holding a different kind of gas. So it will be an important tool, but the most important tool is to reduce the emissions in the first place. This is one of those means of making sure we reduce the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere so we can cool the planet.
If we look at Glencore, Great Artesian Basin, obviously a massive stoush at the moment going on, where do you stand?
Well, it's not helpful for ministers in the federal government to interject and put personal opinions on these cases. It is before the courts. We saw there were two resources-based decisions of the last government that ended up in the courts, and the decisions of government were dismissed because of apprehended bias. So it's not helpful for me to interject in that debate, and so I won't on the specifics of that. But I do understand people's concerns, and I understand what Glencore is trying to achieve as well. When we have this contested land use, it really is it's a difficult thing, and it's not going to end. So the way in which we speak about things is going to be important, about how we what we have to do to reduce emissions on one hand, and then the other uses of land that we absolutely need for prime agricultural land. So I think a sensible debate about CCS and where it is. People should be able to lodge their objections. I note the approval was from the former government. It'll go through the courts, and I guess we will see where it goes.
You said it's not helpful for ministers to give their personal opinion on it. There were reports just days ago about Minister Murray Watt contacting the Environment Minister asking her to intervene on this project. Do you think that was unhelpful?
Oh, well, I'm not certain of that, and I'm sure you'll ask Murray that question later when he appears on Beef TV. But, as ministers, we talk all the time about things just to see, we ring our colleagues. I would ring Murray on a particular matter, and he certainly contact me on another, just to see where things are at, and sometimes to...
So have you contacted Tanya Plibersek over this project?
No, not at all, no. But it's
Do you
also...
think it should go ahead?
No, I'm not going to voice my opinion on this, my personal opinion on this, because, as I said, ministers speaking like that can endanger future decisions, and that's wasteful too, right?
Because so should Murray Watt not have contacted Tanya?
No, he should contact Tanya to see where things are at. I think that's entirely reasonable. We do it all the time.
What about an intervention?
But that's contacting and finding out what's going on. Like, that's not going into the public sphere and saying you're making a decision or preempting a decision and exhibiting your bias. So that's what we need to be careful of. And the courts have told us not to do it, so we each try not to do it. Sometimes people can slip up. I get that. We're all human. But by the same token, we need to let the business of the courts, which are fair and, they hear from all sides, and they'll just have to run its course.
I want to turn to Northern Australia
Sure.
now. Will Tracy Hayes be reappointed as the chair of NAIF?
There's no reason not to. I get along really well with Tracy, and she's a formidable advocate for beef in Australia, and she is a great chair of the Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility. We are going through a process around appointments and reappointments to the board, and that's been, they all know that, all the members of the board except for one are up for reappointment. So we'll go through that process in a sensible and timely fashion.
Was the spray the other night a bit awkward though?
I don't think so. I mean,
over live exports.
I was at the dinner, and I thought Tracy spoke really well, and I spoke to her after the dinner. And I think when people have a platform, especially at such an important event like beef, they should use that opportunity. And I think what she said and the manner in which Tracy said it was really respectful. This has lingered, there's no doubt, and I'm not going to go into it again because it's an ongoing court case.
Come on, Minister.
No, you can't get me. It is, and it's lingered through, a couple of terms of the former government. And I know the Prime Minister, we want to resolve it. There will always be differences of opinion on settlement payments, and that can be distressing to those that are seeking it, and I absolutely understand that. But Tracy's right to raise those concerns, and if I feel a bit awkward about it, or Murray does, or the Prime Minister does, well that's okay. That's our job, to listen to people. So that's what we did, and look, Tracy's been great at NAIF, and I really enjoy working with her and the whole board for that matter. So, she's a great leader, and a great leader in the Northern Territory too, which I think is really a good thing that she's speaking her mind in a respectful fashion.
Your gas strategy comes out this week. What can we expect?
Well, the gas strategy was announced, the development of it was announced at the last budget, and so me and my team and the department have been working for the past year on this strategy, and it's about how we've done a huge analysis. We've had many consultations, lots of submissions have come in from the public, from the commercial sector as well. It's about building the evidence base to assess where gas sits in the nation's story in the context of wanting to reach net zero by 2050. So, not everyone will be happy with it, but I'm what I want the gas strategy to do is just to be a factually based assessment of where gas sits.
WA was instrumental in delaying the overhaul of the Environmental Protection and Conservation Act. What were the key concerns exactly?
Well, I'm not sure if that's quite the case, but I know it's been reported like that.
You guys hold a bit of sway, don't you, Minister?
I don't know. Well, it's a big state like Queensland, a little bit bigger than Queensland, of course, and we're both resources states. I think that the challenge with the EPBC reform is immense, and Minister Plibersek recognises that and has said as much, and we all recognise that, and it is appropriate that it's done properly. So, quite a bit of it has already been achieved with the water trigger that we introduced really quickly, or reasonably quickly in the start of our term. But it's just appropriate to split it up like this and keep the consultation going. But we are very serious about the reform of the EPBC Act. Everyone acknowledges it's not working. It's not working for the environment, and it's not working for proponents for development. And we want it to work because and being from a resource state, how the frustration around some of these approvals. Equally, the mining and resources have to work with the environmental protection regime as well, and they want to. They just want to make it to be clear. So, I look forward to those reforms, and I'll keep working with Tanya and others to make sure they're appropriate.
Minister, it's time for our game. Playing for cattle stations.
Yeah.
Now you
I love
got
a cowbell, you know
it. Now, we saw, this is the leaderboard. You've got well done, medium well, medium rare, and raw.
It's a lot of
David
blokes there.
Littleproud is at the bottom. Ferner is at the top. Albo, he's doing all right there as well.
Right in the middle.
Now, you've got 5 pop quiz questions.
Okay.
The game is to see how well you can do. So, let's start off. Question 1, Minister. The town of Banana in North Queensland is named after a fruit or an animal?
I don't even know what to say. It's a town called Banana.
Yes, correct.
Clearly, I'm embarrassed that I don't know. I've not heard of that town. Is it named after a fruit
or an animal?
I'm going to say animal because it's
Correct. Banana the bullock. Correct. One.
That's the name of the cow.
Yes.
The bullock. Sorry. Yeah, great.
You're doing well. You're already
Thank
ahead
you.
of some. Little Proud's on
Little
one.
Proud.
So you're
wait
doing,
till I see him in Parliament.
Yeah. Outside of beef, what is the key ingredient in a beef Wellington?
Oh my God, that's my husband's favourite dish. Is it the pastry?
Oh, I meant to give you multiple choice. Sorry. I'm not following along very well. Sorry. Garlic, mushroom or onion?
Oh, mushroom.
Correct.
Yes.
What is the cut of meat in an osso buco? And I've definitely said that wrong, haven't I?
It's ossobuco.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's the
Tail, shoulder or lower leg?
tail, shoulder.
So a shank.
Yeah, lower leg, I would have thought.
Correct. 3. In the Disney universe, Mickey Mouse has a cow friend named what? Clarabelle, Daisy or Millie?
Daisy.
Clarabelle, sorry.
Oh, no.
And finally, true or false, cattle can walk downstairs?
I've never seen that happen. There are no stairs around where the cattle are kept. I'm going to say they can't walk downstairs.
It's actually true.
Oh,
They
damn
can
it.
walk down when guided but won't go alone.
Oh,
But
that's
you
like...
got,
I did better
but
than
you
David.
got 3
so
points. Congratulations,
yeah.
Minister. Thanks for coming on
That's
Beef
a pleasure.
TV.
Thanks so much. Have a great beef week.
You too.